like you said, about half our clubs are. Okay, there we go. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and potential Toastmasters. Welcome to Wake Up with Toastmasters. I am your District 115 Club Growth Director, Ken Richardson, and with me today is my lovely co-host, distinguished Toastmaster, past District Governor, Phyllis Trivy. How you doing this morning, Phyllis?
I am in great shape today, feeling good. Hello to our public out there. I'm glad that you joined us today. Today, Ken is checking our Facebook page, making sure we're live, and send us your questions, your ideas, or just say hello. We like to know that you're out there, right, Ken?
Absolutely. It's always wonderful to know that someone is actually tuning in and watching. I know we do have a lot of folks that watch later because it's recorded and posted on our Facebook page, the Club Growth Director Facebook page. So you can access this later, but if you are in real time live, we like to know that because it gives us an opportunity to respond to any questions that you might have. And I hope you'll have a lot of questions today because we're going to be talking about a very important aspect of Toastmasters leadership, and that's coaching a club. Now, we have talked about club coaching in the past, but we thought, this is such an important aspect of helping our clubs to grow and helping them to retain their membership that we wanted to revisit this. So we're going to talk about what are the qualifications for to be a club coach, what changes are coming with the new fiscal year, which TI up to, and how you can get involved and learn to be a club coach. And I'm very fortunate in having Phyllis as not only my co-host, she is also the District 115 Club Coach Trainer. So if you're interested in becoming a coach after today's program, let me know and I will get you connected with Phyllis to set up a training session. We have a lot of clubs that could use a coach. And I think a large part of that is we're still recovering a bit from the pandemic and getting back into the groove. So I think that's why we have a number of clubs that have 12 or fewer members and would therefore qualify. What do you think, Phyllis? What do you think is going on with our clubs that we haven't seen the membership return the way we had hoped? It's been somewhat promising, but still not where we thought it would be.
I think you're right. The in-person contest shows that people are still interested. We're getting good results there, and many people are coming out. But I'm wondering if maybe some of the lower membership is people that were in multiple clubs. Once you have a large club, you're in multiple clubs, so you get a chance at a role. But if the clubs are smaller, then you're constantly doing the same roles. It's like every month in 2 clubs, I must be the Toastmaster because it'll be my turn again. So it's like the multiple roles. So you don't need to go into multiple clubs to be able to fill the roles. You're filling them multiple times in the smaller clubs. So I think maybe that's some of it. The enthusiasm. Some clubs are great with enthusiasm, some not so much. But that personal touch when you're in person, when you can talk to somebody direct and they can actually feel how you feel about it. Your feelings come out in your body language and how you talk to them about it. They don't just, the meeting is ended and everybody leaves, or they don't show up early enough to really get personal with them on Zoom. But in person, that so adds to it. So now we're starting back with the in-person. I think we will be growing, but I think there's still room for all of the clubs that have the low membership and maybe all in general to come back with a club coach to help inspire them to get that enthusiasm back. We need cheerleaders.
I think you're absolutely right. And there's a reason why you charter a club with 20 members. 20 20 to 30, that's somewhere around the magic number. As you pointed out, if you have too few members, your members are going to be playing multiple roles in every meeting. That's going to stress them out, and you may see a decline. You may see them not attending as much. On the other hand, if you have a very large membership, you may not get the opportunities often enough to pursue your path and pathways. So you're constantly trying to get on the agenda to move forward in your path. So there's a balance. There's the magic number, whether it's 20 or just a few more than that, 20, 25, whatever it is, it's in that range. And we have a lot of clubs that have not recovered the growth. You're right, the contests have been great. I've been to every one so far. I try to attend every one that I can, and I think I'm gonna hit them all. But and there's a lot of enthusiasm. We've had great attendance at the contest, so I think people are happy to have that back. But that hasn't yet translated, I don't think, completely. So this is why we wanted to talk about club coaching. So let's start, Phyllis. What are the requirements for the club? What are the targets for a club before they can apply for a club coach?
The club coach program is that any club that has 12 or fewer members can ask for a coach, and you would contact Ken Richardson, our club growth director, and ask for a club coach. And 2 club coaches can be supplied to any club that calls and asks. And that's where we're finding that the membership in these clubs may be low and they're not thinking about it. I think that maybe Ken should get an email out to the clubs that qualify and say, we have this program available. And we have some coaches now that have come forward. We have 2 that are available to be installed as club coaches. And would you like one of them to visit your club? So we needed the club coaches to come forward and be trained and be ready before we could offer them to the low membership club, because sometimes the low membership club maybe have members that are newer that don't even know about the club coach program. We need to hear those people too.
Okay, that covers the club. So what does it take to be a club coach? What are the qualifications that you look for a successful club coach?
Actually, I don't know that there are requirements. We're looking for people that are willing to attend the club meetings on a whole and be enthusiastic, energized to understand the club success program, the DCP, which is a distinguished club program. Be sure and keep up on all the incentives that the district gives out, and just a willing person that can share their ideas. And I always say gentle persuasion. Someone asked me just this last week that they were in a club that did not explain the format of how the club would operate to their guests. What was the meeting going to be and how was it going to proceed? And I thought that was unusual. I've never been in a club that did not explain the format. And I told her, I said, well, volunteer next week to be the Toastmaster, and then you're the Toastmaster. Explain it, how it works. And eventually other people will say, oh, that was a good idea, and I will do that.
Well, I think that's very important to map out the tools that are available to the club coach that allows them to help their club. And one of those tools is, in fact, having quality meetings, meetings that follow the typical pattern. I don't mean they have to be precisely in this order, or you have to include these things. For example, some clubs will have, a joke of the day, a humorous section. Other clubs won't. That's okay, but you do need to have, the impromptu speaking, you need to have the prepared speeches, and you need to have the evaluation in your meeting.
Right.
And I think what a club coach can do is to explain the importance to the club of conducting quality meetings so that the members have their expectations met. And that's one of the things that a club coach can do. And you pointed out the things that help them with that: the club success plan, the DCP, and I would add, I think the moments of truth is another thing that you can use to help your clubs understand the importance of how they conduct their meetings. Now, at the same time that I've said that, I also want to point out, you and I have talked about this, that there's an opportunity to sort of spice up your meetings. Everybody says, well, if I follow that same routine, people are going to get bored. Well, maybe so, but within the framework of Toastmasters meetings, you can certainly have a great deal of variety. For example, one time we had at my club a table topics marathon, and it was great. Everybody got to go around and ask questions and then answer questions, and then we had a sort of critique. We've had debates, so it's not solely about rigidity, but it's establishing a expectation of quality. And we have the tools within Toastmasters to do that. So there really aren't set qualifications, but how long is an appointment typically? How long is a club coach appointed to assist a given club?
Usually it's just this year, but it could also be the continuing year. So depending upon when you become a coach, you may have almost as much as 2 years to establish that they are a distinguished club. One of the things I found, and I don't know, I'd have to check with International, but I had received an award already for being a club coach to one particular club when Steve Goldstein called me and he said, "You're on the list for such and such club. How are they doing?" And I said, I got that award a long time back. So I'm not sure if it can go more than a year and a half or the 2-year period. It maybe can go on a while, but I would say, yes, you should be able to do it in the current year or definitely within the next year.
Yeah, I think you need at least 6 months and maybe up to 18 months to really help get a club turned around. And I think that's important this time of year. We are approaching the end of our year. Our fiscal year ends June 30th. And beginning July 1 this year, there are going to be some changes in the club coach program. And I've heard a little bit about it. I don't have all the details, but I do know that if you start as a club coach now, you will finish in the current system. And then all coaches appointed after June 30 will be in the new system. And a component of the new system I can share with you, and maybe you can talk more about it, Phyllis, is I know they're going to have some required training that will be in base camp. So you'll have to go there. There will be much more of sort of a back and forth between the club and the coach. The club will be expected to evaluate the coach at the end of the appointment. The club coach will be required to submit several written reports on the club's progress. So I'm not sure about all the details, but those are some of the components that I have seen already. And overall, I think they're pretty good changes. What do you think, Phyllis?
Well, right now, all we require is that you get them to distinguished, which means that they have a net gain of 5 members or reach the 20 mark, but it would be 5 in cases of club coach because you have 12 or less members. So have to have a net gain of 5 members. That means that whatever the base was, and your base is how many members did you have with TI on July the 1st of the current year. Then you have to end on June 30th with at least 5 additional members to that total. So if you lose 2, then you might have to have 7 new members. This is how it goes. It's a net gain of 5. And then there's a Distinguished Club program, which has 10 items on it. And in order to be distinguished, you have to have 5 of those completed.
Yes, and I think that it's good that you point that out, that those are the requirements in order to achieve the goals of the Club Coach program all together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good that TI is giving some more attention to this. And just because they have some required program doesn't mean that the district would not have some additional requirements on that. So I think that it's whatever TI requires plus whatever the district wants to add to give a complete program to help our clubs. Because I know it's not just our district that has had its challenges with our membership, but it's pretty much every district at this time. When I talk to other club growth directors, they are seeing the same things. It's kind of been an up and down. Now we've had some growth in our district, and we're very, very pleased with that. But as you and I talked about a little earlier, we are coming up on our sort of the deadline for membership renewal. And before, there used to be sort of a grace period. If you didn't get out all of your renewals in by the end of March, you kind of had 2 weeks. They've eliminated that, haven't they?
Actually, it used to be 2 months.
Oh, was it 2 months? I thought it was 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's why I say I never really wondered about the membership of my judges when I was doing these district chief judge, because I knew everybody had this grace period. Now it cuts off on April 1st. That's when dues are due. And if you don't have your dues in on April 1st, on April 2nd, you're not a member. Now, you put your dues in anytime, absolutely. As long as you pay the $45, you can pay it on the 15th of April or the 15th of May. You can bring your membership up to date. But like for judging, you have to be a member in good standing of a club in good standing. And if you don't have your dues in by April 1st, then you're not in good standing. So that's how it's working for us.
Yeah, it's that calendar is so important in determining things beyond whether or not you're in good standing. If you have, for example, because we're in contest season, as we've been talking about, let's say you have someone in your club who has won an area contest and wants to move up to division. If you are not a club in good standing on April 1st, then that member is no longer eligible to compete. Is that correct? That's the cutoff date, right?
Yeah, right. And I would say that if it's like winning the area and competing in the division, that your club has to be in good standing by the time it's division contest time. So got a little time there. And most presidents are are aware of that. And they
let me ask you, let me clarify that. So you're saying that, let's say on April 1st, the club is not in good standing.
Right.
But then by April 15th,
mm-hmm.
they get in good standing, then they're okay for their member to participate in the contest. Is that correct?
I would say yes. That would be a yes for me.
Okay, well that makes me breathe a little bit better, because I thought that the cutoff date was going to be April 1st.
Yeah.
And if you weren't in good standing on that day, going forward was problematic for your contestants and your judges.
Yeah, and say you have that, you can pay your dues up anytime or get a new member that fills that role, so that at the time of the contest, you sign the paperwork that says that you are a member in good standing of a club in good standing.
And you do that at every level, at the area level, the division level, and the district level, you are basically confirming that your club is in good standing and that you are in good standing. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And that is the same thing with judges, even the chief judge, the tiebreaker judge, they all have to follow this rule. A member in good standing of a club that's in good standing. So should your member that's in good standing go out and join a club that's in good standing, not their home club, but another one? Yeah, I would say that qualifies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the club coach then has at least some flexibility right now in terms of their tenure as the club coach for a given club. As we talked about, it could theoretically be up to 2 years appointment. We don't know how that's going to change. So what else is in it for a person who's considering club coaching? They get some credit, but this year they have some special additional credit. Isn't that true?
This was what I talk to people about is, once you have got your club to be distinguished, then you earn your credit for club coach. And this credit stays with you until you use it, as in being a distinguished Toastmaster. You don't lose the credit ever. So if you do it this year and you don't reach the status where you're applying for your Distinguished Toastmaster Award, it's still good 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You've earned it. It's always yours. But this year, if clubs reach 20, the magic 20, then the club coach will receive credit for actually being a district officer. So we think of club coaches as people that are advanced, but actually, if you're giving out that kind of an award, then you're thinking about people that have been in a year, 2 years, and know they want to be a distinguished Toastmaster, but maybe their work does not allow for them to have the extra time to be a district officer. By that, I mean an area director. So it's a good thing if you can work it out.
Yeah, it gives you another option. So your district leadership for your DTM can be a club coach if you reach those requirements, or serving as an area director or division director. So you have one more additional opportunity to meet the leadership requirements to become a DTM. So I think that's wonderful. I hope they will continue that as the new program rolls out. As I've indicated, we've been given sort of a little, here's some of the things we're going to be changing July 1st, but I haven't yet seen the entire, here's the new requirements, here's what we're going to do, here's this, that, and the other. So I don't know what other changes are in there. Have you heard anything further that I've missed?
No, I really haven't heard about any of the changes other than what you have talked to me about it. And I don't think they have a webinar on it yet. No. But as in everything with Toastmasters International, once they set the program into effect, they will put out a webinar so we understand how it works by going into the Pathways program. And I would assume, this is just assume, but that you have to be assigned as a coach before this program will appear in your personal pathways.
I think that's correct. And the only people who can assign a coach are myself, club growth director, or the district director. Mm-hmm. But it's usually something that the club growth director does in conjunction with our club coach trainer. I did want to acknowledge that Jennifer joined us. She's been on listening, I hope. And she also notes that she feels very strongly that as we get back in person, it's going to strengthen our membership because I think she's been in a lot of the contests as well and has seen the enthusiasm. It's really been amazing. And if you haven't had a chance to go on the 115 Facebook page and look at all the wonderful pictures that she and Cynthia, our sister, and our administration manager have taken, you really owe it yourself to do so because they're just really terrific. Well, we got about 5 minutes left. Any final messages you'd like to give to our viewers there, Phyllis, before we do some announcements?
Well, I would like to say a challenge to distinguished Toastmasters. You know, you didn't get to be a distinguished Toastmaster all by yourself. Come out and support our clubs. Be a club coach. And if you have a friend, you know, one club or two club coaches can go to the same club. Do it with a friend. Make it a challenge to see who can get to distinguished club first. But come out and volunteer. And for you clubs with low membership, now is the time to ask for a club coach. We want to help you, but you've got to ask.
Yes, we can't help you unless you want help. And that's a key. Right. That's really a key ingredient, is that the club requesting a coach must want to revive their club. You know, they can't leave it all on the coach. This is not the coach alone rebuilding a club. It's the coach and the remaining members who are working together to rebuild the club. Well, before we wrap up here, I want to remind everyone, if you have any questions, if you are interested in becoming a club coach, you can email me at d115cgd@gmail.com, or if you want to be a guest on our show. And keep in mind that Phyllis and I are here, excuse me, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but Wake Up with Toastmasters is on Monday through Friday. So on Monday and Friday, we have our program quality director, Gene Williams. And on Wednesdays, we have the lovely Jennifer Smith, who acts as hostess. She is our public relations manager and does a wonderful, wonderful job. So you have plenty of opportunities to appear on Wake Up with Toastmasters. Other reminders, we do have a contest coming up. This is contest season, of course, March 26th, this Saturday. The Area C4 and D1 contest will be at the NV Energy, excuse me, on West Sahara. Doors open at 10 a.m. And then as we get down the road here, we've got on April 9th, we've got the C1, C2 at Palo Verde High School. April 23rd, we have divisions A and B. That's also going to be, there was a change there. That's going to be at the Palo Verde High School. And then April 30th will be our last divisional contest in C and D. And that will be April 30th at the Historic District. If you need any of the addresses or details, please email me and I'll make sure that you get them. But I can't tell you how much fun it is to go attend these contests. We do have Educational Enrichment Night coming up. That's the second Saturday of the month. The classes will be listed in the upcoming newsletter. So hopefully you'll have an opportunity to attend that. And then on the last Saturday of the month will be game night, and you'll also find a link there in the newsletter. I think I've covered about it. What did I forget, Phyllis?
No, I think you've got it. Everything
All right.
good to go. We'll see. We call it contest.
Exactly. Well, one last thing I did forget. May 14th. May 14th is our District 115 conference. You know, and of course, that's where the division winners will compete against one another and on May 14th. And that's going to be at the Hampton Inn, which is on Dean Martin, just off of the 15 and Tropicana, right kind of back behind Interstate 15, just a little bit west of there when you get off. We've had meetings there before, and this will be an all-day meeting on the 14th. You know, there'll be some food included. There'll be there'll be the contest. There'll be lots of fun things to do. We're going to have a banner parade, all the things that we haven't had for a while. And the cost is only going to be $75 per person. So that's really good. Some of our viewers may recall when we were part of District 33 in California, you know, the contest registration was usually $125, but then you had to get there. You had to drive there, get a hotel room. So it it did add up. So this is pretty good. This is a great deal, and I hope we will see all of our members, if possible, attending the conference this year and rooting for their favorite contestant in those contests. If you do have any questions about that, please send me an email.
I was just saying, we're going to say that our contest chair, which is Steve Goldstein,
Convention chair, yeah.
Yep, and hopefully he will come and explain all the volunteer jobs that need to be done, but also the procedure. What's going to happen when? How are we going to handle this new in-person contest?
Yeah, I've asked Steve to come on. He's gone, and he has assured me that he will once all the details are ironed out. So we'll make sure and announce that once we have it. So thank you for joining us today or watching the program later if you choose to. We will see you again on Thursday, and tomorrow Jennifer will be here as your host. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay.